What happens when an empire that has stood for over 5 centuries, one of the great pillars of the Islamic world, is brought to its knees by a foreign force? Is it simply the clash of armies, or is there something far deeper at play? Imagine walking through the ancient streets of Baghdad, a city that had once been a beacon of knowledge, culture, and power. The air is thick with the scent of spices and the hum of scholars debating philosophy. Above you, the grand arches of the city's mosques and palaces rise into the sky, while minarets echo the call to prayer, reaching out to the millions of faithful below. This is the heart of the Abbasid Caliphate, a dynasty that for over 500 years ruled the vast expanse of the Islamic world, stretching from Spain to the borders of India. But as powerful as Baghdad once was, it was facing a storm that none could have foreseen. A storm coming from the east, led by a man whose name would be feared by nations for centuries, Hulagu Khan. It all begins with a messenger, a lone envoy arriving at the court of the Caliph al-Mustasim, the ruler of the Abbasid Caliphate. The message he carries is one of doom. Tell your master that the great Khan, Hulagu, sends his greetings, the envoy declares, standing before the Caliph. The Mongol horde is coming. You have 2 choices: submit to our might and avoid destruction, or defy us, and we shall leave nothing but ash in our wake. The Caliph, a ruler more interested in pleasures of the court than the wars of the world, scoffs. For over 5 centuries, the Abbasids had ruled with an iron grip, their golden age marked by astounding advancements in science, medicine, and philosophy. The idea that such an empire could fall seemed impossible. The Caliph, confident in the strength of his walls and the might of his city, dismisses the threat, but the messenger's words echo in the air long after he leaves. Your foundation may be strong, he warns, but we are a force like no other. If you do not heed the great Khan's demand, you will meet your end in the jaws of a lion, and thus the die is cast. As the months pass, Hulagu's Mongol army, vast and relentless, marches towards Baghdad. Their reputation precedes them. They have conquered entire regions, leaving behind nothing but devastation. The world speaks of Genghis Khan's brutal conquest of the East, and now Hulagu, his grandson, continues that tradition with even greater ambition. Hulagu's forces are enormous, and they have already swept through Persia, bringing entire cities to ruin. Their methods are terrifyingly efficient, sieging cities, cutting off escape routes, and using terrifying war machines to breach even the strongest fortifications. But Baghdad, the jewel of the Islamic world, the Mongols are about to face their greatest challenge yet. As Hulagu approaches the great city, he receives an offer. The Caliph offers a bribe, a huge sum of money to turn back. But Hulagu knows that these people have mocked his father's might and refused to bend. We have come all this way, Hulagu remarks coldly. How can we leave without even seeing the Caliph himself? The siege begins. The Mongols bring with them terrifying weapons, catapults that launch massive stones, trebuchets that tear down the very gates of the city. Day and night, they attack. The city walls, once considered impenetrable, begin to shake. Inside Baghdad, chaos reigns. The Caliph's men, once confident in their strength, are now in full retreat. Desperate cries fill the streets as the enemy draws closer. The Caliph, who had once been a symbol of unity and power, now cowers, looking for ways to negotiate. But the Mongols are not interested in negotiation. As the Mongols breach the walls, the unthinkable happens. Hulagu's forces, including thousands of Christian Mongols from Armenia and Georgia, sweep through the city, like a tidal wave. The Abbasid defenders, once fierce and proud, are slaughtered mercilessly, and the people of Baghdad, they are caught in the midst of a nightmare as Mongol forces pour through the streets, pulling families apart and destroying everything in their path. The Caliph, having no choice but to face reality, sends his top general, the Dawatar, to negotiate with Hulagu. But it is too late. The Mongols do not seek peace now. They want vengeance. The city, once a symbol of learning and power, is now a city of death. Thousands are massacred, their bodies littering the streets, piled high in grotesque displays. The once beautiful libraries and mosques, the very heart of Islamic culture, are destroyed, set ablaze by the very forces sent to tear down Baghdad. What happens next is one of history's most brutal acts of war. Hulagu orders the execution of the Caliph himself. His death is not swift. It is brutal, symbolic. According to some accounts, the Caliph is rolled up in a carpet and trampled to death, his blood spilling onto the earth, an earth the Mongols believed would curse them if noble blood were shed. But the slaughter does not end there. The Mongols continue their massacre, sparing no one. Children, the elderly, women, none are safe. The city's once mighty defenses have crumbled, and with them, the Abbasid Caliphate. Baghdad falls into the hands of the Mongols, and with it, the heart of the Islamic Golden Age. The loss of Baghdad was not just the fall of a city, it was the death of an era. The Islamic world, once united under the Abbasids, would never be the same again. Scholars who had once filled Baghdad's house of wisdom with knowledge were now silenced, their libraries burned. The Islamic world's intellectual and cultural heart had been ripped out, leaving a void that would take centuries to heal. And yet, in the face of such devastation, one question remains. How did the Abbasids, who had once ruled with such power, fall so easily to a force so far from their doorstep? Perhaps it was their arrogance, perhaps their complacency, or perhaps it was simply that no empire, no matter how great, is immune to the march of time or the fury of the Mongol horde. But this was not the end for the Islamic world. From the ashes of Baghdad, new powers would rise, new centers of learning, new empires, and new dreams of unity. The Mongols, for all their destruction, were also the bearers of change. They would carve a new path through history, one that would lead to the rise of the Ilkhanate and the eventual spread of Islam into the far reaches of Central Asia. But the fall of Baghdad remains a pivotal moment in history, a reminder of the fragility of even the greatest civilizations. For the people of Baghdad, it was the end of an era. For the rest of the world, it was a lesson in the cost of ignoring history's warnings. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.